All right, today we are here to talk about the blueprint portion of our tool tote box, which is the Scout Toolbox project. This is an isometric drawing with some basic information. It's page 1 of 2. And my students in the Woodworking 1 or Woodworking Principles introductory course need to draw for me, in order to build this project in the shop, a basic drawing here, which is page 2 of 2 here. The information that they need in order to cut everything out. So this particular drawing here has information for the overall size of things, where they're going to lay things out in one particular board to make it efficient. This is going to be made out of pine. It's just a practice project to do some hand saw cutting work accurately using a square and possibly some hand planes. This particular project is going to be drawn to scale, half scale, meaning for every half inch we have on paper, we're going to build it 1 inch in real life. I'm going to be using a scaled ruler here. I'm going to be using a mechanical pencil 0.9 lead with a white eraser. That is the ideal tool for this particular drawing assignment. And we're going to be using some plain white printer paper. So let's get straight into this so we don't take up too much time and we can get to building. The first step is going to be creating this title box that has all the information in it. So to do that, I'm going to hold my ruler at the bottom of the paper and draw a line. I can do that because I know my ruler is exactly 1 inch thick. If your ruler is not exactly 1 inch, what you need to do is you need to take the scale side of your ruler that's measuring inches, and you're going to come over to one edge and you're going to measure up 1 inch. Actually, mine's not exactly 1 inch right now. You're going to measure to this 1 inch point right there, and you're going to measure over here 1 inch. I didn't hold mine very accurately. Okay, and then you're going to draw a line all the way across from those 2 tick marks. That should give you, and then you connect the dots, it should give it 1 inch there. So you're then going to draw a square on the far right side by either using your ruler again, parallel to this outside edge, or measuring over 1 inch and 1 inch and putting a dot. We're going to then draw a diagonal line from corner to corner and draw another line. You guys are watching this on video, so feel free to play and pause as you need to keep the pace. If I'm going too fast for you and you're having a hard time keeping up, you can always rewind and replay. The next step from this line here is going to be to draw down 2 inches and 2 inches and create this little vertical line. Then we need 3 inches and 3 inches. Notice I'm always using 2 different points to give myself a straight line. I want to put my pencil on one dot first. I'm going to bring the ruler in, swivel it on that point till it comes down to the correct bottom point, and then draw my line. If you find yourself wanting to push the pencil, you're going to have trouble when you have either a weak paper or vellum paper, something expensive. You always want to pull the lead, don't push the lead. This now is proportionally 5 inches roughly, 3 inches, 2 inches, and the page marker down here. So we're going to label everything. This particular project again was called the Scout Toolbox project. So in very neat, plain, clear text in printed form, not cursive, not sloppy. This is a blueprint. You really want to take your time. This is like a form of artwork, okay? You want to take your time and draw these letters as neat as you possibly can and as consistent in size. If you need to, you can draw a line all the way across and touch the lines top and bottom when you do this. Scout, Toolbox, Project. Okay, then in this middle box here, you're going to put your name up top. I'm going to put mine as Mr. Bell. You should put the date that you created this. So today's date for me is 10/25/21. You are going to put whatever date you actually drew your project. And then the period or the class that you're in. So in this case, I'm drawing this from my period 2 class as an example. And the reason I like a white eraser is if I don't make it the way I like it, I can always erase it and clean it up. That's just not quite in the right spot. Okay. The next step, after we get the name, date, period, and title, is to put the scale. Now our project scale is 1/2 inch. It's going to equal 1 inch in real life. And this is going to be page 2 of 2 pages. I will just give everybody in my class page 1 of 2. So hopefully your title box is done. You can check some things. Make sure that the line from here to here is 5 inches. From here to here is 2 inches. That you're 1 inch tall. And that you're using an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. If you got this step done, we're ready to move on to the next one. So for the next step, we want to start drawing all of these parts. In order to do that, I have done all of the measurements already for us, so you don't have to think hard about it. We're just going to practice the drawing and get this down quickly. From here to here is about 3/4 of an inch, and same thing from here to here. So that's the first thing we're going to do. On the right hand side of our paper, I'm going to come over and we're going to draw a reference line. Starting with a 3/4 inch dot, coming up here. If you're using a 16th scale, that should be 12 tick marks. So you can count every single tick mark if you like, 12 times to get to the 3/4 mark. And then from those 2 dots that I just created, we're going to draw a very light line. We don't want it too dark because we're going to erase part of it later. Again, I'm going to pull my pencil, and there's the line. I need to do the same thing on the other side. So, sorry, I'm drawing on 2 papers so that my pencil doesn't rip my paper, because this is a soft surface, it's matte. I just want to make sure we're using the right edge. So there's 3/4 of an inch. Here's 3/4 of an inch in. I'm just measuring from any whole inch. You can measure from the 5, you can measure from the 4. It doesn't matter as long as you're coming over 12 tick marks. Assuming you're using a 16th scaled ruler. Hopefully, if you're in my class, you know what that means. But that means that between every inch on your ruler, there's 12 spaces. If you're not using a ruler with, 16 spaces with 16 even spaces between each inch, then you're using the wrong scale. It needs to be a 16th scale, meaning you've got 16 equal spaces between each inch. Okay. The 2 reference lines are done now. So we can start the next line. And we're going to do that by coming down from the top of the paper now, exactly 1 inch. So make sure you guys can see this here. Sorry, I'm working around a tripod and a bunch of things. I can't quite get close to my paper where I can see it very well. Try not to bump the camera so you guys have a good view. And then we're going to come down over here. My ruler doesn't have enough room to work here. Just move the paper a little bit. So we're going to come from that inch mark to that inch mark. I'm going to connect the two dots with my ruler. Hold it in just the right spot. I'm going to pull my pencil all the way across, stopping at those 2 points. Now these 2 points are established. These are actually going to be part of my project. So you should have from here to here 1 inch, from here to here 3/4 of an inch, and from here to here 3/4 of an inch. We're going to draw the bottom of our project first. The bottom is going to be 12 inches in actual size. So half of that is 6 inches. So this line from here to here is going to be 6 inches. So I'm going to start from the 0 point, and I'm going to come over 6 inches and put a tick mark. Come down here along this top line, or the bottom line, which is the top of the title box, and then from those 2 marks I can draw a light line. You don't want to do this too dark because you're not going to use all that line. Some of it's going to have to get erased. Now that you have this 6-inch wide area, we can check to see if the 7-inch wide is going to be accurate. So I have 3.5 left over, and if you double 3.5, you should get 7. That's accurate. So that's actually correct. That's what we need for our ends. So let's come back over here for a minute. Our bottom is going to be 5 inches in actual size. Half of 5 is 2.5. So we need a 2.5 inch line, or a line that's 2.5 inches down from this line. So starting with 0, I'm going to come down 2.5, put a tick mark. We're going to come over here, 2.5, put a tick mark, and then again we're going to connect those 2 tick marks giving me the bottom of our toolbox, or for some of you it might be a planter box. Alright, so the next thing I need is the front and the back, which could also be looked at as the sides, right and left, depending on how you're holding the box. And those are going to be an actual size 2.5. Half of 2.5 is 1.25 inches, so that's what we're going to draw. I'm going to do both of them at the same time. Come down 1.25 inches, come down another 1.25 inches. If you need to move your ruler down, you can do that. I'm going to come over here, mark 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches, and then I'm going to connect these dots like this. I'm going to connect these dots like this. Alright, so you guys are at the point now, hopefully, where you have drawn all the basic lines for this particular project. We're going to break this video up into 2 parts so I don't run out of memory on the camera, and I'll be right back. Hopefully you've gotten this down to this point. If not, rewind, replay, and make sure you get this really accurate before you move on.